Hi, I'm William Fouquet with Candlelight Editing, and obviously from the title of this, we're going to be talking about ChatGPT and AI produced by OpenAI. So let's go through a few things, just the background about ChatGPT before we dive into it. So, as I said, ChatGPT was made by OpenAI, and I believe development started around, I think, like 2018, and maybe a little sooner. I can't really quite remember. But so last year, version 3 came out publicly for a beta. I think that was back in November. And then 3.5 was released in February. I was about to release this video earlier, just 2 days ago or 3 days ago, but then they announced ChatGPT 4 released. So I was like, okay, well, I gotta update this thing. I gotta look into it before I release this video. I want to make sure it's a little bit more up to date. So, a few other odds and ends about this. Microsoft invested $10 billion into it. Their search engine, Bing, is using a version of ChatGPT version 4, but it's highly restricted. As they put it, they put guardrails on it so that it doesn't do anything awkward or unsettling. So, with version 4, which is available on OpenAI's website, you do have to be a Plus subscriber to get access to it. Otherwise, you're going to be using 3.5. That will most likely change to where it's either $20 to pay for being a subscriber for Plus. I think that price is going to go down, or it might be available to be free at some point. Also, if you're on a waiting list, they may accept you without you having to pay for it. With the new version 4, the amount of parameters is going to be substantial. So with version 2, it had 1.5 billion parameters. Version 3 has 175 billion parameters. So we're talking about 100 times larger of a neural network, which is substantial. How much data, and how it connects, and how it understands things. So also version 3 has a limit when you give it text of 3,000 words. With version 4, the parameters should be much more, and also they haven't specified this, but it should be much more. And then it allows, this is pretty interesting, it allows 25,000 words when you give the information to it instead of 3,000 words like version 3.5. So it was actually completed back in August, version 4. And so they've been doing a lot of sprints trying to make it as safe as possible, improve the accuracy because there's just so much more data and the neural network is so much larger. So let's see. Anything else we need to talk about? Oh, yeah. I just forgot to mention this part. It runs on the fifth most powerful supercomputer in the world. So that's kind of interesting. Something you've probably heard about is that ChatGPT is very inaccurate with the amount of what the information it gives. And 3.5 version, that is true. They ran it through some tests, and we're talking like standardized tests, and it was scoring in the low 10% of compared to other people who are taking the test. We're talking about like AP math or science and that kind of stuff, and college exams, that kind of thing. And I think SAT and ACT. So, with version 4, which has a larger neural network and they've been refining it, this is where it gets interesting. It is now scoring in the top 10%. And in some categories, it's in the top 1%. So, this is pretty big. So, the accuracy is much better. I wouldn't obviously completely trust everything it gives. You want to double check it. Do not use this for fact checking when you're copy editing. But it is important to know this. And this is also very important. The information that it has, it cut off on September 2021. So anything between that date and now, it does not know any events. Excuse me. Any events or any changes, anything at all between September 2021 to now, it has zero knowledge. Hopefully that will get updated. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I guess they're going to have to like really give it chunks and analyze it and be careful and make sure the accuracy is high because they want to keep it at that high accuracy they've been working so hard for. So one thing that's kind of interesting about ChatGPT compared to other AIs is that it seems to be closer to what we call general AI or full AI. All the AI systems we've been having up to this point have been narrow For instance, Deep Blue, which beat the chess grandmaster, the best chess player back in, I think it was like 1997. And then we have AIs that have to do with voices, maybe Alexa, maybe Siri. Let's see, there's AIs with like Netflix and Amazon. They're looking at what you enjoy looking at or browsing or watching or whatever, and they make suggestions off that. So AIs are used quite a bit. And then, research started in AIs in the mid 50s, if you can believe it. And if you know anything about computers back then, it's pretty funny. But it really seemed to, things start really happening in the 90s. And then recently there was a big jump. It's what they call big data. There's just so much information that human beings just cannot work through it. So why don't you just have AI process the data for you? So that's what we're using AI for, and open AI's ChatGPT. We have access to all that data through the AI, and we use ChatGPT as the middle person for this. So let's go ahead and just jump onto the website and start playing around with it. So here we are in ChatGPT. You'll notice that mine looks a little different than yours because I have ChatGPT Plus, which is currently $20 a month, which is expensive, but I'm mainly interested in to see what this can do so I can appropriately talk about it. So with Plus, you do get and you'll be able to sign it down here on the left. It currently doesn't show it, but you'll be able to sign up down here on the left if you want. It makes the responses faster, but more importantly for me, it allows me to have access to ChatGPT 4. If you notice, it says that the reasoning and conciseness is higher compared to the default. So on the left is one of the two important areas. This is where you have your different chats, and it will store the information in these chats. So I have one for making macros. So I tell it to act like a Microsoft Word macro expert and help me make macros. I have another one that's where I'm like, act like a web designer and help me with my web design. And then you have all these different topics. So whenever you're about to have ChatGPT do something different in a different area, then you want to start a new chat. And if you're on the Pro or the Plus, then you can choose which version. Personally, I would suggest ChatGPT 4 if you have access to it. Just use it all the time. It's going to be better. But 3.5 is still pretty useful. So over here about these chats, you can rename them, which I highly suggest. You just click it and then click on the little pencil icon, and then you just rename it and click on the check mark. So this could be, like awesome macros. And then you just click on the check mark. Now I purposely put version 4 and 3.5 so I kind of know what I'm working with. And I'll probably redo these in version 4 later. Another thing is that each one of these has a URL. So let's go up here, click on this link, and you notice it ends with 9E. Now if I go back to Microsoft Word macros and click on this, you notice it ends in 17. So that's something that you can do that's really interesting. You can bookmark each one of these. And so you can quickly go to that conversation and continue on through a bookmark. This is great also if you're on your phone. This does work on phones if you have like your browser on your phone, and you can bookmark different conversations. But yeah, each one of these has a different URL that you can bookmark. And also sometimes this will vanish temporarily. And if you need to get access to it, having those bookmarks are really handy. You can also look at your history and find them that way. You'll notice down here on the bottom left, you do have dark mode. I personally like it. I think it looks great. It's easier on the eyes. I think a lot of you right now are probably glad I turned this on. Now down here is where the magic happens. This is where we put information in for the AI to interact with us, and these are called prompts. Prompts are crucial and very important. They need to be specific and give the AI all the information it needs to give you a clear answer. So some people have said that whenever you have a new chat like this, when you create a new chat, it's almost like having a brand newborn baby and you're starting from scratch. That's what each of these are. Each one of these chats are isolated. So any information you give in one will not be known in the other chats. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and start a new chat. We're starting from scratch. It doesn't have any information, like I said, from the other chats. And let's do ChatGPT 3.5. So here, let's see what we're going to do. Let's say we need advice on posting stuff on Twitter. So act as a marketing specialist. What are some tweets I can post as a copy editor to attract authors, let's say indie authors, who write in, let's say, horror, in the genre horror, that will attract them to my business. So it's listing some ideas, and you can give more information about your business, your company, your copy editing, what you specialize, and about you, and it will be more specific. Now you can say, uh, what are, sorry about that, some unconventional uh, tweet ideas for these topics. Just say for, tweet ideas. Here we go. So these are pretty much pitches. That's interesting. All right, so let's see. I'll copy edit dark fiction with in the genres of horror, sci-fi, gothic, and urban fantasy. What are some witty tweets that I can post? Thanks, Grammarly. What are some witty tweets I can post that will attract indie authors in these genres? All right, let's just grab one of these. Let's say the first one. Your dark fiction deserves to shine. Let us help you make it the best it can be with our expert copywriting services. Hashtag horror, sci-fi, gothic, urban fantasy. So let's take, let's see, this last one right here. Let's copy it. Let's do a new one. If you notice, it automatically gives this chat a title, basically. Like I said, you can click on it and change that title if you want. All right, new chat, version 4. Let's try this again. Let's see what it is. So this one's going straight into the tweets, and it's using emojis, which is definitely different. Yeah, sorry it's taking so long. That's one of the problems with version 4 is that it has so many more parameters. The neural network is so much larger than version 3.5 that there's just so much processing going on and it just takes more time. Now, in the future, as time goes by, processing will get faster as it always does. So this won't take so long. All right, yeah, I think we've got enough. Let's go ahead and just stop that. That's good. So here you can pause if you want to and read through all of these. And what you could do though is just like I said, just tell it a lot of information about your company and what you do, and it will be much more specific. I don't know why it's giving so many emojis. This is pretty funny. And it's limiting the hashtags to 2. I wonder if it does that because it knows that Twitter is not a fan of more than 3 hashtags. A lot of people just do 2 though. Well, this one has 3. Yeah, it never goes over 3. That's pretty good. Now, over here on the right side, you'll notice these plus thumbs up, thumbs down. This is our way of telling the programmers and the people involved with this if it's doing well or is doing poorly. So I'm going to say, yeah, this is great. Um, Sorry about that. The three ideas are fantastic. And submit. All right. So what you can do is also click on the thumbs down if the information is incorrect or just doesn't work for you. Click on the thumbs down and explain why. This is helping the developers and people involved to fine tune this and make it correct. And like I mentioned before, this information is only good up to September 2021. So it's not going to have everything correct, unfortunately. So you noticed earlier that I had it write macros right here. So this most of these macros worked pretty well, and you can tell it that it made a mistake when it doesn't work, and you can even give it the error code, and it's hit or miss. Sometimes it can fix it, and then sometimes it doesn't. So, uh, yeah, the main thing is really test it, make sure it works, and try a simple thing. The more complex the macro, the less likely it's going to be able to do well. So I don't want to keep going on and on about showing examples of what to do with this. So to help you out, I made a PDF that has pre-written prompts that you can use to do some really cool things. So let's go ahead and just switch over to that. Here we go. So here's the PDF, and I'm still refining a few things. It needs to be updated in a few areas. And it has some really basic information, some general information here, some warnings, like for example, don't use it for like legal documents. I need to also put in here, don't trust it for like your taxes. Don't get tax advice. Go to experts. Some good tips, and then we have ways to use it. We have branding, and I do suggest this website for coming up with just some good business names. And I believe it actually uses the API for ChatGPT. In here, you'll see that it says, I got these squared brackets. And this is information that you fill in. So you just copy and paste it and then fill in this information, and it should work great for you. So, yeah, branding, correspondence. This is, all right, a lot of people may be opposed to using ChatGPT and then just taking what it says, copy and pasting it. If I have to quickly email someone and respond to them, ChatGPT is acting as an assistant. And I can just copy and paste this in, fill in a few odds and ends, it'll produce a text, and then I just send it to them. You can, if you want, take that text and put it into like a text expander program like Text Expander and save that information for later. So here's just a few examples. You can use this to kind of come up with your own ideas, of course. Then we have blogging. A lot of us do blog. I would say I personally follow about 50 or 60 blogs by editors because I like to see what they're up to. So here you can get blogging topics, some ideas, things related to SEO. And this is kind of interesting. I'm fine with this personally. You take your whole blog, you use this prompt, and then you can just paste a blog and it'll make a summary at the bottom just to summarize everything, and then you're done. So it's just kind of just some fun stuff here. Now, finding work. I don't know how well this is going to work for anybody, but this can possibly find publishing companies and magazines that work well for you. So, for example, we have one down here that has to do with if they're close to you, for example, in your same city, and just looking for maybe publishing companies or imprints that focus in the genre or genres that you specialize in. So this was kind of fun. I came across this actually in TikTok. This guy was talking about this, so I can't take full credit for this, but you could have it create playlists. With this, you just put in this, how many songs you want to produce for a playlist, a song that you enjoy in the artist name, and it will use that information to find similar songs and make a playlist for you. And then you of course have to open up your streaming music app of choice and make the playlist yourself, but it does create a list of songs that you might enjoy. If you want to try to find like a lot of indie artists, this is the one specifically for that. Now this might be a little controversial, but DALL-E creates art, quote art, but you can actually have ChatGPT create prompts, including for itself. If you're this is more of a complex thing, but you can use this prompt to then make a prompt for DALL-E, which is also made by Open AI, and you just copy and paste that prompt that this thing produces into DALL-E, and it can create an art cover for your playlist. Now you're probably going to have to tweak the prompt to get what you want, but this will give you a really good starting point. And then you have just comments, queries, just explanations and stuff like that you're going to be putting into documents. So if someone uses something that's offensive, you can type in the word or phrase here, and then it will create the comment for you. I'm perfectly fine with this. I really don't care. I also use the Crystal Shelley's book, the Copy Editor's Toolkit. You can, it's kind of like that. Of course, hers is going to be better, obviously. But yeah, you can just copy this, put in a word or phrase. It will produce something. If you like it, you can put it in your text expander, so you can quickly just put that in there into your comment. All right, well, there you go. I hope this document helps you, and hope this video was informative. I might be making another video in the future as I learn just more tips and tricks of how to deal with ChatGPT and other AIs. Something I think is important to remember, though, is that AIs are going to become probably a pretty important part of technology in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So it's probably important to learn how to communicate with them, how to use them, because it's where our technology is going, and this is inevitable that this is going to come along. It's only going to improve. So we might as well, instead of being afraid of them or annoyed or angry at AIs, just go ahead and start learning how to use them to better ourselves as editors, and just make our lives a little bit easier. Well, thank you for hanging out with me and learning about ChatGPT. Hope you found it informative, and you take care.